My name is Anamari Fanthorpe, and I'll be your host today. Today, I have Alan Carnaby here from MBIE eInvoicing team, and we're going to be talking about getting your business set up for eInvoicing. So if you are watching with us on social media, we know you hang out there. You can ask Alan questions through the comment section or the chat function. Please feel free to drop them in, and I'm going to pull them through to this Zoom session to get them answered. eInvoicing obviously is going to help streamline your processes, and we're going to hear some more about that today. So welcome, Alan. Thank you so much for joining us here on Digital Boost.
Thank you very much, and kia ora, everybody. Thank you, Anamari. And yeah, really excited to talk to you about eInvoicing. This is something that you'll hear a lot about over the next sort of 6 months to a year. And yeah, look, I've got some slides to go through. So we'll go through some information around, how it works, the benefits, and how you can get started. And then we'll open up for some questions and answers towards the end, if that sounds good. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen.
Yeah, you go ahead and do that. I'm going to drop off and get all the chats open.
Lovely. Okay. So hopefully you can see my screen here. And as I mentioned, we're going to go through information around how eInvoicing works, the benefits, why eInvoicing, and how you can get started on your journey. Now, what is eInvoicing? So before we even almost get into that question, eInvoicing is a new initiative that can help streamline an existing administrative heavy process. And you can think about it like this. So we move from checks to online banking. We've moved from using cash to using EFTPOS, and eInvoicing is almost like the next cab off the rank, where it's an administrative heavy process that we're trying to streamline and make more efficient and more secure. And yeah, so what eInvoicing is it's a digital exchange of invoice information directly between buyers and suppliers. And this can work even if systems are different. It's very direct, secure, and fast. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a video next, which can kind of help to cover off the basics a lot better than what I can. And after that, we'll go through some more information. Okay, just going to play the video.
If you're in business today, you'll want to know about eInvoicing. It's a digital offering that brings a smart approach to invoicing, so manual handling can become a thing of the past. Let's set a few things straight. eInvoicing means no paper, no PDFs, no scanning, and no email. It's an exchange of invoice information directly between suppliers and buyers' financial systems, even if these systems are different. It improves accuracy and security, reduces processing time, and speeds up payments. Great news for cash flow. To get started, talk to your accounting or financial software provider about their plans to provide eInvoicing-enabled services. Find out more at eInvoicing.govt.nz. eInvoicing, the smarter way of invoicing.
Great. So yeah, look, hopefully that video helped to cover off a few basics, but just remember, no PDFs, no paper, no scanning. And through that produces a lot of benefits. It reduces administrative tasks in your organization, and for small businesses, that's a big win. So let's also cover off what eInvoicing actually isn't. So remember, this is not about generating a PDF from your software provider and then sending that in an email. That is not eInvoicing. It's rather a direct exchange of standardized data from one system to another. That's really efficient. So there's no manual scraping of data from PDFs, etc. eInvoicing does not change your processes of approval for invoices. You can simply think about this as a new channel to be able to send invoice information. But all of your existing processes for around approvals and approval limits for invoices doesn't need to change. You can simply embed that within your current existing processes. And one of the other things, and kind of going back to my example of where we move from checks to online banking, from cash to EFTPOS, this change will be a transition over time. So whilst eInvoicing, we believe, will be the de facto standard way of processing invoices, soon and in the future, it'll be a change over time. There will still be requirements for some instances where you're still using existing processes for invoices. And we're not saying you need to change everything all overnight to e-invoicing. It's a change that we all work through together. Okay, so where are we at in New Zealand with e-invoicing? It's been available here in New Zealand since last year in terms of the network, and so it's all up and running and works. And now nearly 7,000 businesses are registered to receive e-invoices. And that number is growing around 10-15% month on month. So we're starting to gain a lot of momentum with organizations signing up to receive e-invoices and sending e-invoices, which is great to see, because this initiative does take the community around the motu to get involved and to begin sending e-invoices to really drive the benefits. We have 17 central government agencies all on board, able to receive, and soon to begin communicating to their suppliers that they prefer e-invoicing. And there's many more of them to come. Government's really trying to lead the way on this initiative, and so you'll hear a lot of noise from government if that's a sector you're supplying to. And many other large businesses are adopting the capability. You can see a selection of household names here below of organizations that are sending and receiving e-invoices, and there are many more to come. These businesses recognize the benefit and are taking steps to build this into their existing processes and to embrace e-invoicing. So we're certainly on the journey here in New Zealand, still a way to go, but we're starting to see momentum. We're starting to see real examples and the real benefits that e-invoicing can bring here in New Zealand, which is great. The other thing to recognize with e-invoicing is this is not just a New Zealand thing. It's an international movement, an international initiative, and there are now 42 other countries working to drive e-invoicing locally, all via what's called the PEPAL standard. And this is the standard we also use here in New Zealand. And you can kind of think about it as the standardized way of transferring that data through the network. And all 42 countries are adhering to that international standard. And we're following the same process, which is important because part of this is all about having a standard way of transferring this information that everyone uses. Now, MBIE here are responsible for rolling this out in New Zealand. We're the designated authority for e-invoicing. And the reason for that is because it drives great efficiencies, innovation, and benefits for organization. That's what e-invoicing is all about. And so MBIE are looking after this and helping to communicate and roll this out here in New Zealand. And through this, of course, we are working with our counterparts in government in Australia and many others internationally, such as Japan, Singapore, and others in Europe. And that's really great because we can see examples of how other organizations or entities have rolled this out, some of the challenges, some of the opportunities, and we can bring that into what we're doing here in New Zealand and to support organizations to make the move. So it really is an international movement that we're trying to drive and adopt here in New Zealand and lead the way. Now we'll get on to a couple of the benefits around e-invoicing. So one of the first ones here that's important to emphasize is this concept of connect once, connect to all. Because e-invoicing is a standard open network and has a standardized way of transferring data through the network directly, once you sign up to receive and send e-invoicing, it works the same every single time. There isn't a need to adhere to a particular organization's way of invoicing or through their systems in a particular way they want to do it. E-invoicing is a standardized way, and like I mentioned, internationally as well, to transfer this information through. So once you sign up, it's kind of a one and done, and you connect and connect in the same way every single time. So that's a good thing. Reduced processing costs. Again, when we talk about not having PDFs, not scraping information from those PDFs, no paper, no scanning, even OCR technology isn't perfect every time, and there are often mistakes that need to be fixed, and you have to chase missing information. E-invoicing reduces a lot of that burden, and through that saves time, saves hassle, and so that obviously equivalates into cost efficiencies. But the other thing to think about as well is, when you really think about the cost of failed invoices, it can have far-reaching impacts. It can delay certain work being done. It can sometimes damage some of your supplier relationships. So e-invoicing can help you to reduce some risk and also, reduce processing costs associated with traditional invoice processing. Direct and secure. So because you're not emailing PDFs through, and it is a very, very much built secure direct exchange of information, it's a much more secure method of processing invoice information. The other thing as well is that every time you send an e-invoice, you know straight away and can see and have visibility and transparency around, has the invoice been received? Then obviously, has it been paid, et cetera, et cetera. But you have direct information to see that your e-invoice has been received by the buyer, by the supplier, et cetera, and you can see that. And that's a useful thing, because sometimes you send emails, you don't know if potentially has the email been received, has the email bounced, etc. So this is a really great thing about e-invoicing. You have audit logs and everything's validated, and there are strict protocols. And coming back to the security piece as well, you know, with email, that can be susceptible to things like ransomware, etc. So e-invoicing is a direct and secure network that isn't exposed to that kind of risk. Improve financial visibility. So again, coming back to data standardization that e-invoicing brings and standard ways of moving this data through, it's all accessible, it's all visible, and you get a lot of detail on each invoice. And this can actually help transform the almost humble invoice into a powerful force in your organization. You can take the data from e-invoicing and plug that directly into tools that you might use for forecasting, planning, budgeting, and that can help you make faster decisions and potentially have more precision and power to make better decisions. So it really can help improve your financial visibility, and there are a number of different applications once you've got your invoice data really accessible in these systems. And lastly, faster payments and improved cash flow. And because e-invoices are sent directly into the recipient's financial system, that can facilitate payments to be made faster. You also, like I mentioned in the second point there, reduced cost in terms of manual effort, and there's reduced human error in invoicing. So the accuracy of invoices is much higher, and so that means that you get paid on time each time, and so that can really help facilitate faster payments, improve cash flow, and yeah, these are just some of the benefits that you get with e-invoicing. So how do you get set up? There's really only two things you need to do, and I'll go through both of these in a bit more detail. But essentially, it's just register to receive e-invoices, and we'll go through that information, how you get that done, and then get set up to send e-invoicing. That's it. It's just registering to receive and then getting set up to send. And if we look at how you register to receive, the first thing you want to do is check if your accounting or billing software provider facilitates e-invoicing. The vast majority already do, and have built e-invoicing natively into their existing products. So chances are that you've actually already got access, it's free, and that you can get started on registering to receive. But you can actually go on the e-invoicing website, where we have a list of the software providers that have e-invoicing enabled, and you can take a look. And of course, you can just ask directly with your software provider. You then get registered, and again, we've got a getting set up information page for software providers that can help. But again, talk to your software provider. But it's really easy to get registered to receive. And then lastly, let your suppliers know. Once you are able to receive, it's a good idea to let some of your key suppliers know that, hey, we're now able to receive e-invoices. So if you'd like to do that, that would be great. And then you can provide them with your NZBN. And we also have a toolkit on the website, because sometimes it's maybe hard to think about how you might get started in communicating this to your suppliers. So we do have a toolkit available that can help get you started with some information that you can then tailor to however you want to communicate to your suppliers. But it's important to let your suppliers know, so that they know they can begin sending, and you can also encourage them as well to get registered. How to send. So sending is obviously the other key component. Now, to be able to send e-invoices, you first of all need your buyer's NZBN. So you can use the NZBN register to use the lookup tool to look up a business to see what the NZBN is. If you have a list of organisations that you want to get NZBNs for, you can actually email the NZBN team using the email here, datarequest@nzbn.gov.nz, and they will actually perform a business match and take your list and provide all the NZBNs associated next to those organisations for you, all in one go. And that can be really helpful if you're looking to understand and potentially be able to see who you can send e-invoices to all at once. The other piece is obviously checking to see if your software provider has access to and process to be able to create and send e-invoices. Again, the vast majority do here in New Zealand of major software providers. But you can again check that on our website. We have that listed. And again, obviously talk to your software provider directly too. And then we have a getting set up guidance instruction on our website if that's useful as well. But yeah, of course, your provider should be able to talk you through the steps, and it's usually only a few clicks and a few steps that you need to take to be able to begin sending. But you just need to know, is the organisation that you want to send registered to receive, and then just making sure you understand the process with your provider of getting set up to send the invoices, and then you can get started and start to see the benefits of e-invoicing. So those two steps: register to receive and get set up for sending. And again, talk to your provider; they'll be able to help you a lot. And we've got information on our website as well. Now, once you do register to receive, once you get set up for sending, it is really important to let your suppliers and partners and organisations that you work with know that e-invoicing is something that you're kicking off as a journey within your organisation. The whole concept of this works when everyone gets involved and begins to make sure that they can receive and begin sending e-invoices. So it's a good idea to highlight to organisations that you work with that you're e-invoicing capable. There's an image here that you can actually download and use in different marketing material or areas of communication that you have, particularly with your suppliers. And there's some wording down here as well where you can say we prefer e-invoicing instead of PDFs and listing your NZBN number as well. And you will start to see this quite a lot with organisations that you work with, particularly, as I mentioned, central governments putting a big push in to embrace e-invoicing and communicate directly with their suppliers around this. So you will start to see this becoming commonplace. So if you're on the journey, it's definitely worth letting your suppliers and the organisations that you work with, let them know that you're available and able to receive e-invoices, and that you'll be beginning to send as well. Okay, we do get quite a few different questions here in the e-invoicing team at MB, and I want to go through just a few common questions that we get and some of the answers associated with them, because there is, obviously a level of detail that you do need to go through when embarking on this process. So one of the questions is, do both the sender and receiver need to be registered for e-invoicing? And actually, the answer is no. You only need to register to receive invoices. However, both parties do need to use software that is connected to the e-invoicing network for all of this to work. So that is just one thing to maintain. Just to be able to receive an e-invoices, you just need to be set up to receive, but just making sure that your software is connected to the e-invoicing network. How do I know which of my buyers can receive e-invoices? Well, best thing is to ask them, of course, and communicate with them, and then let them know that you can send e-invoices as well. And yeah, check the list of businesses that are registered to receive e-invoices. We have a list on eInvoicing.govt.nz, which you can download, and it has all of the 6,800 businesses signed up that you can actually use and look up to see which businesses are registered. It's really easy. And that's on the home, just scroll down on the homepage of the e-invoicing website and you'll find that list there. And we update that every month. So again, as I mentioned, we're seeing good growth each month in terms of new businesses signing up to receive e-invoices. And so it's worth checking in regularly to see, which of your new suppliers or organizations that you work with have now signed up for e-invoicing. How do I know if my suppliers can send me e-invoices? And that's once you've registered to receive. So again, communicate with them that you can receive e-invoices and provide them with your NZBN and encourage them to get e-invoicing capable software so they can send you e-invoices. Chances are their software is already able to do this. And to help matters further, we do have a communication toolkit on our website, as I mentioned, that can just help with suggested email content, phrases, or wording that you can adapt for your own communication to your suppliers. Now, does e-invoicing meet IRD's tax, invoice, and record keeping requirements? The answer is absolutely yes. You can actually check the IRD website out for this information. IRD themselves are receiving e-invoices too, and they're on their journey for e-invoicing, and they're standing shoulder to shoulder with us on this initiative. But yes, in terms of tax, invoice, and record keeping requirements, absolutely, this is all built to make sure that that's in line. So yeah. Now, what is the cost of e-invoicing? Most small businesses, software providers, most of them actually provide free e-invoicing capability. As I mentioned, it's now been built in natively into most software products. And in many cases, it's already part of your existing subscription that you'll have. So chances are the cost will be minimal, but obviously have a chat to your provider. But in most cases, we see that it's a fairly easy thing to get off the ground at minimal cost. And then how do I get my buyers' NZBNs? We've kind of covered this off with the data matching service and the lookup tool that you can use with NZBN, but really encourage you to use this capability from the NZBN team. It's fast, it's easy, and can help you to match organizations with NZBNs, and that's a really helpful thing. So do encourage you to use that email address in the previous slide to look to obtain that help from the NZBN team. So, e-invoicing, we went through some of the benefits, but just to recap, it's a new way of exchanging digital invoice information. It's fast, it's secure, it's direct, no PDFs, no paper, no scanning. The administrative burden is lifted off your teams, and that helps to save you time, reduce costs, operational costs, reduce the risk of failed invoices because of manual mistakes, human error, and it's a more secure network than simply emailing, and it can facilitate faster payments and ultimately turn this humble invoice that we've always had into a really powerful force within your organization. You can do a lot with the data once it's standardized and in the systems and how quickly it's exchanged, so it can really help help with faster decision making and more precise decision making. And with that, one of the other things to mention is we are working with our counterparts in Australian government to roll this out, and we are rolling out e-invoicing in New Zealand at the same time as Australia. And you can see on the left-hand side, we're about 6,800 organisations set up to receive e-invoices here in New Zealand. Australia on 23,000, but we'd love to beat them. And we are, of course, working closely with them, but it'd be great here in New Zealand if we can all embrace the initiative, embrace the process change, and then all reap in the benefits that this really will deliver to small organisations, large organisations in New Zealand. And if we can beat the Aussies in rolling this out, it'd be a great showpiece for us as a country. So that would be awesome. And look, I think what I'll do is I'll finish up the slides here, and it'd be great to move to some questions around this. A lot of information, there's a lot of information here that I've gone through, and so really keen to hear your questions, and hopefully I'll be able to answer them.
Yeah, thanks so much, Ellen. It's really great to hear about the security that comes from e-invoicing, I guess, and just the timeliness that it can create for people to have to pay those invoices and receiving payments. I think that's one thing that keeps businesses going, is that cash flow, and being able to make sure that that's happening on time, and making it easier for people to pay you is always a good bonus, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Always a good bonus. And yeah, the more you look at it, and when you get into organizations and you go through the process of enabling this, you really do start to see the different benefits. And there's probably more that I haven't mentioned as well. So yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you've got some questions for Alan, we do have some people floating around on the social media channels. So I'm going to just be looking a little bit like I'm looking around, and that's because I'm on those platforms. If you've got some questions, please let me know. If you have any questions, drop them in the chat. And we'd love to get them answered for you while Alan's still here. Nothing like the present. So, but we are looking like everybody. I mean, sometimes that happens, Alan, when you're good at explaining things. You kind of bring people to a place where they don't really have any questions. So a little bit of a testament to your ability to speak about these. Okay, so here's the question. Sorry. I'll just drop this question in. So thanks, Angela. It says, Kia ora, are government departments and local government going to have NZBN numbers as well for us to invoice them?
Yes. So yeah, it's the same process right across New Zealand for government entities, businesses, etc. So yes. Well, and the other thing is, if you're supplying to government, again, reach out to them, talk to them, have a chat, and as I mentioned, there's a big push within government to roll out e-invoicing and to embrace it. And so many of the government agencies are already set up to receive e-invoices and are beginning to actively communicate to suppliers. And if they aren't yet, they've got plans in place to do so. So I'd really encourage having a quick conversation with your counterpart or person that you work with within a government entity. The new channel to be able to see.
Okay, perfect. Just sorry, there was a little bit of background noise there because I have to reload sometimes for the questions to load.
No problem.
We need a more efficient system here, Alan. I'm sorry. But thank you for answering that. Appreciate it. And I don't know, we might be out of questions. I'll just do another refresh on the LinkedIn is the one that doesn't pull through very efficiently, unfortunately. And that's
the other thing I just made mention of is the e-invoicing team here at MB are absolutely available to you. If you have direct questions, you want to reach out and connect to us, we can certainly provide you a more in-depth overview if you have detailed questions at any time, and we can be resources to you and helping to support you on your journey. So we are here. We're here to support you, and you can contact us as well, and we'll get back to you and get some time scheduled in to help you on your journey.
I love that. And I love that about Aotearoa in general, is like it's a very much a family kind of feel as far as helping everybody to get sorted and educating through kindness, which is quite nice compared to some other places that I know of. So I think that might be us for today. I want to thank you and the whole team, the whole e-invoicing team, for helping to educate us here at Digital Boost and for helping to put together the podcast. There is a podcast that you can listen to if you prefer or want to brush up on some other areas that has been pushed out onto our app and onto our podcasting places like Spotify and Apple, I believe. And please get in touch with the e-invoicing team if you have any other questions. If you have some questions that are around this, maybe it's in the accounting realm, but isn't exactly e-invoicing, contact support at digitalboost.co.nz. We'd be happy to put you in contact with some of our providers and suppliers, or help you to answer stuff where we can, or direct you to content on the site that we already have. Here's a question from D. Hi, which EU countries are using this or are capable of using it? Do you happen to know?
Good question. Off the top of my head, I couldn't probably list them all out. Actually, if you look up PEPOL, the countries will be listed on the PEPOL website.
Okay, that was
but to give you, PEPOL, and you'll be able to see the list of EU countries that are embracing this as well. But to give you an example, countries like Norway, Sweden, some of the Nordic countries are really far ahead on this. So I know in Norway that I think about 90% of invoices from government to government, and then 50% of all invoices within Norway are e-invoices. So there are countries that are further ahead than us on the journey, and so that's quite interesting. But yeah, you can find a list of the organisations that are signed up and are rolling this out on the PEPAL website, and
Is that
that's great for
pepal.com?
us.
Just
Should be.
pepal.com?
Yeah, I believe so. I'll have to. Yeah, but if you Google PEPAL, you should be able to find the official site right at the top.
Yeah, there's like a link through the government. I'm just dropping it into the chat for you guys, so that you have it. But I just want to make sure I grab the right one. PEPAL is the global. Yeah, maybe this one. We'll see. And I'll also send you to the eInvoicing Gov about link as well, so you can check out those two links to get a little bit more information. I would love to set up eInvoicing. However, my software is not compatible. Is there a way around this other than changing accounting software?
Yes. Now, look, sometimes that is the case, or you might have an old instance of software. There are actually some organizations that we can point to that, in the best way possible to describe this, they can plug in an additional capability for eInvoicing, even if it's a legacy platform or software instance that you have. So there are capabilities to kind of modernize your system without needing to upgrade your software package or instance at this current time. So yeah, even if natively it's not set up, there are options to plug in an additional capability to make it happen. So that doesn't need to hold you back.
Yeah, great question. Thanks, Carnaby builders. Okay, well, maybe we should just waffle for a second. Where can I find the plugin? Where would you suggest they go? Is that would they go to their actual accounting software and say, hey, I'm looking to okay.
Yeah. So the best thing there is have a chat to your software provider. They'll be able to give you a quick demonstration of how this works, and look, to the person's point before, if they don't have eInvoicing capabilities built in natively already, then that's a conversation you can have as well. And then you can come to us, and there are other providers out there that can again provide capability where it might not be there. But in terms of the plugin and that particular process with your particular software provider, talk to them. They'll be able to guide you through the steps and how it works. And usually it's pretty straightforward. And that's the best way to go.
Okay. All right, cool. Sounds like a plan. Please let us know if you need a little bit of help with that as well. If you just feel a bit overwhelmed, just contact support@digitalboost.co.nz. We can have a conversation with you, help you to do some research, figure out how we can make this happen for you so you can get on board and get some of your stuff sorted a little bit more easily than normal. Just jumping over platforms. The efficiency here, it's because we don't pull straight through. So we actually use Restream, but we house on Zoom. And so it doesn't allow me to pull the chats through. So apologies for my wandering eyes. So you're very welcome, Carnaby builders. Have a wonderful day. I want to say thank you all for joining us here. I reckon that's probably going to be us for today. Thank you, Ellen, for joining us here today. This is your first timer. You're welcome to Digital Boost. And thank you so much to the whole team. Have a wonderful day, folks. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity.
It's our pleasure, really. I hope you guys join us for our workshop on Thursday. We're going to be talking about social media. I know you guys are hot on that topic. For those of you sitting there on social media, I see you, but you can't join the session unless you register to Digital Boost. So make sure you join Digital Boost and then register to the session, and we'll provide you with the link. So see you there. Thanks, Ellen. Have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you very much, everyone.
Ka kite.